What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and Spider-Man 2 for the PS5 is out. Yes, I will be streaming it, but what better way to celebrate than to run over the most powerful Spider-Man suits in the history of Marvel Comics, starting with the symbiote suit, because it doesn't really seem to be a reason to cover the OG red and blue suit. So, in Secret Wars number 8, this cosmic drama saw Spider-Man's trusty red and blue suit ripped apart. Now, in a bid to patch himself up, Peter stumbled upon what he believed was a handy alien sewing machine, but little did he know it was far more insidious. In fact, inside was an alien symbiote sneakily replicating the look of Spider-Woman's costume, but with a spider emblem influenced by Null the symbiote god's sinister sigil. Now, the perks of this new suit, there were a bunch. It responded to Peter's every thought. It could morph its appearance, and the cherry on top, no more relying on manufactured web fluid. This thing could produce its own organic webbing. But as with all things that are too good to be true, there was a dark side. Over time, Spider-Man started to feel drained and lethargic, and then of course, suspecting that something was off, he sought insights from Reed Richards and Johnny Storm. The revelation was actually a pretty big one. The suit was not just some kind of a fabric, it was an alien trying to permanently bond with Peter, even taking his body out for nocturnal joyrides. So desperate, Spider-Man turned to Mr. Fantastic and the Human Torch, leveraging the symbiote's dual Achilles heels, basically piercing sound and searing heat in order to get rid of this thing. But the symbiote, exhibiting a stalkerish persistence, ended up mimicking his classic attire and then managed to bond with him again. Now, this pushed our hero to a dramatic climax at Our Ladies of Saints Church, where he basically used the bell tower's deafening chimes to finally rid himself of this thing. But as comic lore would have it, the symbiote found another host in the form of Eddie Brock, giving birth to the menacing guy that we know as Venom. Here's the funny thing. This was not the end of Spider-Man's time with the symbiote. In fact, Spider-Man had multiple reunions with it during an extraterrestrial mess involving the X-Men and a symbiote-infested brood. And then again, when a poison version of the Punisher decided that Spider-Man needed an alien upgrade. And who could forget the epic showdown with the Red Goblin? Peter had to make a temporary truce with the Venom symbiote to face down that monster, who was basically the Green Goblin with the Carnage symbiote. It was pretty dope. But another fun little tidbit here is that Matt Gargan, who was at one point the Scorpion, ended up getting the Venom symbiote. What's really cool is during Superior Spider-Man, that version of Spider-Man, who we'll talk about here in a second, punched the jaw off of Matt Gargan, and that's when he realized Spider-Man had been pulling his punches this entire time. But coming up next is Bombastic Bag Spider-Man. This suit made its appearance in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, issue number 258. And while it's not the most powerful, it's probably the most fun. Imagine, if you will, that our boy, Peter Parker Spider-Man, was just having one of those days. The Parker luck, it always strikes again. We're not talking about some kind of like, I forgot to study for my test. No. We're talking about like, I've lost my super iconic symbiote suit and I need a backup ASAP. And so this took place in the aftermath of the Venom symbiote suit saga. But you simply can't have Spider-Man swinging around in his underwear, right? So enter the Fantastic Four. Being close friends with the team, Peter borrows one of their spare costumes, but there's a catch. He doesn't have a mask to go with it. So what does our improvising superhero do? He throws on a paper bag, making sure nobody can see his identity. But here's where things get even crazier. The Human Torch, never one to miss a prank opportunity, slaps a kick me sign on Spider-Man's back, and voila, the amazing Bagman Spider-Man is born. Now you might be thinking, Rob, this is hysterical. It's a knee slapper. Probably the funniest thing that I've ever heard in the history of my life. And I would agree with that statement, because I'm probably the funniest person to ever walk across the surface of the earth. But what ends up going on here is the second time that he becomes Bombastic Bagman Spider-Man is after a particularly tough situation which lands Peter in the hospital. And so Black Cat, always the playful one, the flirty one, she ends up deciding to confiscate the suit. And guess what Peter's left with? Yep, that iconic paper bag mask once again. It's moments like these that remind us just how fun and whimsical the world of comics can be. Sometimes in the midst of all the serious battles and storylines, we get these little gems that make us chuckle and appreciate the lighter side of superhero life. But getting back into our main discussion about ultra-powerful Spider-Man suits, this brings us to the Captain Universe suit, originally appearing in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1 in issue 329 as part of the Acts of Vengeance storyline. So the Captain Universe universe persona is not unique to Spider-Man, but when Peter Parker merges with this cosmic entity, it creates a blend of power and responsibility on a universal scale. The unipower is a really mysterious force in the Marvel Universe, and when it finds a host, it transforms them into Captain Universe. Now, why does Marvel call it the Enigma Force or the unipower? Because they just never bothered to explain what it was. So why not just call it the Enigma Force, right? Just lean into that laziness, Marvel. But this is not simply just a new look. It's a massive power upgrade. When Spider-Man became the recipient of this power due to a lab accident, his usual attire was replaced with the celestial blue and white design of Captain Universe. The capabilities that came with the unipower are nothing short of astounding. Spider-Man, who's already impressively powerful, experienced a surge in his strength and speed. The agility he was famous for amplified, but it didn't stop there. The unipower also granted him the ability to fly, a big change for our usually swinging hero, and a little bit of telekinesis just to add the cherry on top. That's right, guys, Spider-Man with cosmic level powers, taking his role from a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to a defender on a universal scale. But during the events of the Second Totem War, Miles Morales, another beloved Spider-Man character, was also chosen by the unipower. Now, this further cements the idea that the spider totem, or the essence of the spider, has a pretty significant cosmic resonance, attracting the unipower not once, but twice. But moving on to our next one, this suit appeared in Web of Spider-Man issue number 100. This is the Spider Armor Mark I. Now, when we think of Spider-Man, we often picture him dodging bullets using his agility and his spider sense, which is like the only thing that lets him win fights for the most part. But when the new enforcers turn the stakes up in New York, implying high caliber firearms that pose a significant threat even to Spider-Man, Peter realized he needed an upgrade. And so instead of relying solely on his agility, Peter tapped into his scientific genius. And so at Empire State University, where Peter spent a significant amount of his time, he developed a pseudo-metallic compound. Now, this was not simply just any material. It was specifically designed to be resilient to the types of threats he was facing. The result? The Spider Armor Mark I. Now, this suit was a stark departure from its regular look. Instead of the flexible fabric that we've become accustomed to, we get a shiny, metal-looking Spider-Man that's ready to face the enhanced firepower of his foes. Now, while the Spider Armor provided him with much-needed protection against these firearms, the added weight and the rigidity of the suit meant that Spider-Man simply couldn't move with his usual speed and fluidity. He was safer, yes, but he was also slower, like Trunks when he went Ultra Super Saiyan. Did it look cool? Yes. Was it practical? No. Now, as with many inventions, especially in the high-stakes world of superheroics, the Spider Armor Mark I basically had its moment of glory, but it wasn't really destined to last forever. And during a confrontation, the suit met its end when it was exposed to acid, which basically compromised and then ultimately destroyed its entire structure. But moving on to Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, issue number 425, this saw the introduction of the electro-proof suit. Now, this is not just about a change of style, right? I mean, sure, Spider-Man looks cool. Sometimes you got to shift stuff up, but it's about Spider-Man using his scientific know-how to tackle a specific problem head on. And so Electro, who most of you guys know is a guy who controls, manipulates electricity, this guy has consistently posed a significant threat, not just to Spider-Man, but to Marvel as a whole. Fun fact here, Electro is probably one of the most underutilized, but most dangerous villains in the entirety of Marvel Comics. But over the years, his power levels had fluctuated, but there have been instances where they've skyrocketed, putting not just Spider-Man, but all of New York at risk. Enter the Electro-proof suit. Now, when faced with an especially amped up Electro, Spider-Man knew he had to level the playing field. But how do you counter such a volatile power? Well, the answer lies in rubber insulation, a material known to resist and insulate against electric charges. And so Spider-Man fashioned a suit entirely from this material, ensuring that Electro's electric blast would not fry him on contact. Now, the context of this particular challenge was even more intriguing because Spider-Man wasn't going up against Electro alone. He was actually teaming up with the X-Men, which just goes to show the scale of the threat that they were facing. But after the battle, Spider-Man, ever the perfectionist, revisited the design of the Electro-proof suit. With the initial design, while it was purely functional, he added some extra padding for increased protection. But beyond just the practical improvements, he also added some styling elements because Spider-Man's got to look good. And this ensured that even when going up against a high voltage villain, Spider-Man would do it in style. But moving on to what is arguably the most iconic Spider-Man suit of all time, debuting in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, issue number 529, we've got the Iron Spider suit. Now, as most of you guys know, of course, Tony Stark, the genius billionaire philanthropist, also known as Iron Man, designed a suit for Spider-Man. And this was all leading up to the events of Civil War. With tensions rising and then allegiances being tested, Stark took it upon himself to craft a new suit for Peter Parker. And it's not just any suit, right? It was a blend of Stark's Iron Man technology with Spider-Man's needs. The color palette of red and gold immediately stands out, reflecting Stark's own Iron Man colors and his narcissism and expectation that everything be done according to how he likes it. But it wasn't just about looks. The suit was packed with a ridiculous number of features, some of which Spider-Man never had access to before, from radio transmission capabilities to multiple vision settings and biological sensors. It was an absolute marvel of a suit. And of course, let's not forget those baller arms, which looked absolutely amazing. They just kind of added this distinct edge to Spider-Man's silhouette. Yet, the most iconic and really intriguing feature might be the suit's ability to change appearance based on Peter's will. This eliminated the age-old problem for superheroes: where to stash the suit when it's not in use. But as with most gifts, especially in the world of superheroes, this one came with strings attached. The suit was symbolic of Peter's alignment with Stark during Civil War, a decision that would weigh heavily on him. His concerns about Stark's potential ulterior motives and then hidden controls within the suit were not unfounded. And during a conflict between the two, Stark's ability to override the suit's functions brought their ideological clash to the forefront, and Peter turned on Iron Man, joining Captain America's side. But moving on to Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, issue number 650, this gives us the Stealth suit, not to be confused with the Secret War suit. Now, this suit came by way of Spider-Man facing off against the Hobgoblin, but instead of going for brute force, he went the science route. Drawing on his deep knowledge, he created the Stealth suit, which was not just another costume, it again was a marvel of technology. By warping light and sound around it, the suit could essentially become invisible, making Spider-Man an even more elusive target for his enemies. But of course, the legacy of the suit didn't actually end with Peter Parker. And this is one of those instances where we start getting into suits that were used by people other than Peter Parker. A really good example of this is that this suit was used by Kane, one of the clones of Peter Parker, who would later utilize this suit in his battle against the Spider Queen. But moving on to one of the more amazing suits that Peter had, while it's not ultra powerful in terms of all the crazy stuff it can do, it's probably the most useful suit. This debuted in Future Foundation issue number 1. This is exactly what we call it: the Future Foundation suit. So after the tragic death of the Human Torch Johnny Storm, Spider-Man finds himself stepping into basically Johnny Storm's place with the Future Foundation. Now, this team was conceptualized by Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four and was built on the idea of creating a better future for all. Now, it's not just about combating villains. It's also about innovation, science, and then pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And so, given the forward-thinking nature of the Future Foundation, it's only fitting that Spider-Man get an outfit upgrade to match. Now, it's not just any upgrade. And in fact, the Future Foundation suit is constructed from unstable molecules, which is a revolutionary material developed by Reed Richards himself. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar, unstable molecules are a kind of dream fabric for superheroes. They adapt to the wearer's specific needs, meaning that Spider-Man, a hero known for his dynamic movement and agility, this suit would provide optimal flexibility. But the benefits don't stop there. The suit made from this material can repair itself and it never gets dirty. And so imagine the time saved on laundry alone. But perhaps one of the most intriguing features of this suit is its ability to change appearance. With the Future Foundation's focus on stability and evolution, it's benefiting that Spider-Man's suit can basically shift its look to fit different situations or possibly just Peter's mood for the day. But moving on to Fear Itself, issue number 7, this is yet another suit designed for Spider-Man by Tony Stark. This took place during the Serpent War. This is the Serpent War suit. Now, of course, during this time, during Fear Itself anyway, the world was reeling from the threat of Cole Borson and his formidable group known as the Worthy. In such dire straits, heroes often find themselves needing to upgrade their arsenals. And who better to turn to Then Tony Stark, the genius behind Iron Man. However, this time, Stark's ingenuity is complemented by the unparalleled craftsmanship of the dwarves of Nidavellir, just legendary for their skills in weapon and arms forging. The result? An armor made from Uru metal, a nearly indestructible metal from the heart of a dying star, the same material that makes up Thor's hammer. Now, the properties of Uru alone make this armor extraordinary. It's not just about physical durability. Uru is actually known to be incredibly receptive to enchantments, which suggests that the armor could potentially harbor mystic or otherworldly abilities. Design-wise, the Fear Itself suit basically deviates from Spider-Man's iconic look. Instead of the familiar red and blue with black webbing, the suit is actually bathed in deep blues, accentuated by bright neon blue lines that give it a more ethereal and otherworldly appearance. It's a visual representation of the grave threat that they were facing at the time, if we're being honest with ourselves. But one of the more standout features of the suit is its gauntlets, equipped with razor-sharp blades. Now, it's not just about giving Spider-Man an edge in hand-to-hand combat, all puns intended. It's a sign of the times. The stakes were actually so high during the Serpent War that even a typically non-lethal hero like Spider-Man needed to be armed to the teeth. But as with many of the powerful artifacts in the Marvel Universe, the Fear Itself suit ultimately didn't last. And under the direction of Odin, Iron Man ultimately had to destroy the armor. But moving on to Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, issue number 700, probably the Spider-Man suit that everyone's been looking forward to, this is the Superior Spider-Man suit. Now, when Dr. Octopus realized that his days were numbered due to his failing health, he devised a master plan that few would see coming: swapping bodies with Peter Parker. Now, with Parker seemingly dying in Otto's ailing body, the tables were turned. But a significant confrontation between the two led Peter to share his weight of his experiences and responsibilities with Dr. Octopus, the Superior Spider-Man. Now, this wasn't just a mere memory transfer, it was actually a profound emotional connection, a crash course in great power and great responsibility, basically. But moved by these revelations, Otto made a surprising vow. He wouldn't just carry on as Spider-Man, he would become a better version, thus birthing the Superior Spider-Man. Now, in true Otto fashion, he immediately began overhauling Spider-Man's modus operandi, starting with the costume. The new design was reflective of Otto's meticulous and methodical nature. The classic blue was replaced with a more serious black, and there were numerous design tweaks, from the symbol on the back to the mask's web design. Functionality was also at the forefront of his mind. The glass lenses with a heads-up display, the retractable claws and talons, and the spider arms are all nods to Dr. Otto's background in technology and mechanics, not to mention a subtle homage to his Doc Ock days. But Otto didn't stop there. Paranoid about another possible mind switch, he fortified the mask with carbonadium and also added a communications device, increasing the suit's utility. However, with all tales of identity and power, the ride was bumpy. When Peter Parker eventually returned to claim his body and his identity, he discarded the entirety of the Superior suit, yet circumstances drove Peter to modify and then utilize it once more, further blurring the lines between the original Spider-Man and the Superior version. Now later, Otto would once again don the Superior identity, but this stint was basically fleeting, culminating in an identity crisis that saw Superior Spider-Man basically throwing the suit in a trash can in San Francisco, quite literally. But moving on to someone who is not Peter Parker, but is a much-loved Spider-Man in this mythos, we have the suit that debuted in Spider-Man 2099, Volume 3, Issue number 1. This is the all-new, all-different Spider-Man 2099 suit. Now, Miguel O'Hara, which everybody on the planet knows as Spider-Man 2099, was initially a byproduct of the corporate-driven future where the Alchemax Corporation held immense influence. But Miguel's transition to the present day was rife with challenges as he tried to navigate a world vastly different from his own. And so after joining Parker Industries, an opportunity presented itself, a convergence of the advanced technological knowledge of both Peter and Miguel. And so Peter, always the inventor, the tinkerer, and the guy who just can't seem to catch a break, saw the potential in enhancing Miguel's suit with the modern era's cutting-edge tech, which makes no sense whatsoever because 2099 is more technologically advanced than the present day, but the result was nothing short of spectacular. This new iteration of Spider-Man 2099 and the suit that came with it was a marvel of functionality and design. Its red glow was not just for aesthetics. It could actually change colors, providing tactical advantages in various situations, using unstable molecules, which is actually a major focus point for Spider-Man suits going forward, bonded to Kevlar. And so the suit wasn't simply just flashy, it was built to last. It was a combination that provided adaptability, self-repair, and immense durability, making Miguel ready for any and all challenges that were expected and unforeseen. And so further augmenting the suit's capabilities was the integrated light bite material, enhancing Miguel's unique gliding ability. But Peter, on top of all that, adding thrusters to the boots transformed this glide into a full-fledged flight capability, offering Miguel an edge in aerial combat and maneuverability. Not only that, there's the spider saucers, which I imagine are a blend of sleek design and offensive capability, but integrated into the sleeves and gloves, they provide Miguel with ranged attack options, crucial in situations where close combat might not be the best approach. Lastly, the onboard sensors offer Miguel a full 360-degree awareness of his surroundings. And in that fast-paced, unpredictable world of 2099 and even the modern era, information was crucial. And so this addition ensured that Miguel could actually make informed decisions in a split second. But moving on to Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5, issue number 61, this was the Threats and Menaces suit. Now the gray, white, and blue color scheme is a departure from the traditional red and blue that we're used to. The glowing yellow lines actually created a sleek, modern, and almost Tron-esque look. These lines, especially on the web shooters and eyes, not only add to the aesthetics, but can also serve as indicators, possibly showing when the suit is using certain functions or features. Now, speed and strength augmentation suggests that this suit has some advanced tech embedded. Think of it as Spider-Man with an extra dose of adrenaline, allowing him to push past his usual limits. Now, this will provide him with an edge in combat, chase sequences, and perhaps even in the acrobatics that he's so famous for. Now, what was unique about this is that J. Jonah Jameson, having a direct feed to Spider-Man's perception, gives him a first-hand view of Spider-Man's heroics, and it's a unique way for Jameson to monitor Spider-Man, potentially to manipulate public opinion or simply satisfy his own curiosities. But this does raise questions about privacy and control. It essentially turns Spider-Man into a live streaming superhero. Being able to project holograms can of course be a game changer, and Spider-Man can use it to distract enemies, create decoys, or even communicate. Now the remote control feature could allow for manipulation from a distance, perhaps even by individuals other than Peter, like allies or even Jameson himself. But the addition of 2 more exit ports could allow Spider-Man to shoot different types of webs simultaneously. This could mean a combination of sticky webs and impact webs, or even some new types designed specifically for this suit. Again, using the unstable molecules, this ensures durability, adaptability, and resistance to external factors, making sure the suit remained pristine and functional no matter what Spider-Man faced. But going on to Spider-Man Venom issue number 1, this gave us the Spider-Man Beyond suit. Now the impact thickening foam-based polymers are all fascinating in this. This indicates that the suit would have a dynamic resistance to damage. And so imagine Spider-Man getting hit, and instead of the suit tearing or simply getting damaged, it actually thickens up on impact to cushion and protect him. Now this would be particularly beneficial during combat situations or if he takes a hard fall from high altitudes. Now the base being similar to the iconic red and blue suit provides a bit of a nostalgic touch. The triangular bars splitting the sleeves at the shoulders provide a more segmented and armored look, suggesting enhanced flexibility and movement. But the blue box on the back of the gloves could be functional or purely aesthetic. But given Spider-Man's tech history, it's easy to speculate that it could be a control panel, storage compartment, or just another gadget feature. But the triangular ends of the boots provide a fresh take, and this could potentially aid in aerodynamics or simply serve as a new visual twist. The shift of the logo on the left, of course, reminiscent of the sensational suit, also gives it a unique identity. But continuing on with our list of ridiculously powerful, or at the very least amazing suits, we have the Uncanny Spider-Man suit, also known as the Nightcrawler Spider-Man suit. This of course appeared in Uncanny Spider-Man #1. Now the Uncanny Spider suit, which was worn by none other than Nightcrawler, actually represents a melding of two iconic Marvel characters, Spider-Man and Nightcrawler. So with Peter Parker providing an old Spider-Man suit for Nightcrawler to use during Fall of X, the resultant design actually reflects the unique attributes and abilities of both characters. The predominant black color mirrors Nightcrawler's own shadowy appearance, creating a perfect synergy between the wearer and the outfit. The splashes of red on the logo, cuffs, ankles, and soles highlight iconic Spider-Man features, symbolizing the blend of these two identities. The Spider-Man logo, though retaining its classic form, has an altered structure, extending its arms all the way to the shoulders. Now the tail inclusion on the logo provides a kind of distinct nod to Nightcrawler's appendage, but Nightcrawler's unique physique necessitates certain alterations. The suit features pointed ears, a nod to Nightcrawler's elf-like appearance. The gloves accommodate his 3 fingers, and the boots are designed for his 2 toes, making it ergonomic for Kurt's anatomy. Now, one of the standout features of Nightcrawler, of course, is his tail, and the suit design cleverly integrates a space for it, allowing for its free movement without hindrance, giving Nightcrawler the ability to stab people in the face with it. Now, given Nightcrawler's acrobatic and teleportation abilities, the suit would need to be highly flexible, durable, and resistant to sudden changes in temperature. And so Nightcrawler's unique senses might require the suit to have adaptive lenses or facial coverage that can adjust to varying light levels, especially since Kurt has a heightened sensitivity to bright light. But the Uncanny Spider-Man suit epitomizes collaboration and adaptability. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this to an end. If you guys want to see a list of like alternate reality Spider-Man suits, because some of those are pretty dope, let me know down in the comment section. But thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.